Meanwhile, campaign marketing can make or break a candidate. It often has more of an impact than the person's policy position. So when it comes to campaign catchphrases, what works and what doesn't, let's talk to this guy. He knows everything. Rice University history professor and the author of a new book called Rightful Heritage, Douglas Brinkley. Great to have you.
Great to be on.
Right now, I think the most famous slogan being used is Donald Trump's Make America Great Again.
Yeah, that tells you that slogan that America's not great now. That means that Barack Obama had not done a good job as president. And in Trump's case, it means George W. Bush didn't either. That we have to go back to at least the Bill Clinton, but maybe way further back till we had real American greatness. So I think it's a Reagan-esque slogan,
right,
and it works very well, and particularly the hats. It's been the perfect, giving free gear out has worked for Donald Trump.
It has. All right, so we've got some of the campaign catchphrases from history. Let's go. So we're going to spin the wheel of wisdom. That sounds familiar. All right. So who said this? Read my lips, no new taxes. Remember this, folks?
Read my lips, no new taxes.
So that was very effective at the convention. They used that. Was that good or bad? Ultimately, we know it didn't work out.
Terrible for him because by 1992, when he ran against Bill Clinton and then Ross Perot broke, the big complaint in the Republican Party was that he had raised taxes, that he was a liar,
right,
that he said such a thing. So it was a dysfunctional one, and let's cross that one out of the history books. It hurt 41 terribly.
But what really cooked his juice was Ross Perot being in the race.
Right, yeah, and Pat Buchanan calling him names.
All right. What about, oh, hello, I'm from Abilene, Kansas. I know about I Like Ike. Remember this?
You like Ike, I like Ike, everybody likes Ike for president. Hang out the banner, beat the drum, we'll take Ike to Washington, we'll take Ike to Washington.
What was it about that worked so well back in the early 50s?
A jingle that gets stuck in your head that you never forget. And whenever you hear Ike, the idea of the word like, and just right now, what are the Republicans beating up Hillary Clinton? She's not likable. The point in politics is you're going to have to live with that person all the time. And by 1952, that means living with them on television. You don't want to see somebody every day that you don't like. So that one worked. Stuck with Ike forever.
Okay, let's go back to the Wheel of Wisdom. What about, oh, that's a good one. The stakes are too high for you to stay at home. I remember it. Do you?
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Vote for President Johnson on November 3rd. The stakes are too high for you to stay home.
You know, Douglas Brinkley, that has been one of the most impactful LBJ ads of all time. It only ran one time?
One time, but look how many times it's been repeated. We just did it.
Yeah.
Because how powerful and frightening. That's Lyndon Johnson fear-mongering about Barry Goldwater, arch-conservative, and hawk in the Cold War, right, getting elected, and the idea is it'll be a nuclear annihilation world. In 1964, everybody was concerned post-Cuban Missile Crisis about the world going up in a mushroom cloud, and Johnson provided the imagery for him.
Well, that little girl. Before you go, and you're going to come back later in the program, tell us what Rightful Heritage is about, your new book.
My new book's about Franklin Roosevelt, and it's about the Great Depression and how FDR took all the farmland that had been burned out and created programs like the Civilian Conservation Corps. Unemployed people, gave them jobs, $1 a day. Right. They got up at Bugle Call and they planted over 3 billion trees and built things like the Grand Coulee Dam and Red Rocks Amphitheater outside of Denver, saved parks like Big Bend in Texas and the Great Smoky Mountains in the east. So it's all about how FDR land planned during the Great Depression and World War II.
And a lot of the things we have today and we take for granted started back then.
All of them, bridges like the Golden Gate Bridge, for example, or bridges here in New York.
All right.
Thank you.
Although they could replace a bunch of those. All right, Douglas, you'll be back a little later on.